Good morning, everyone. Well, before we get to what's happening in the broader markets and any stocks of interest, I wanted to take a look at Amazon. I believe we took a look at this probably a week or two ago, and I've certainly been talking about this with subscribers, waiting for this to play out. And earnings will be coming up at the end of the month, so it's definitely going to have an effect on this. But what I'm looking at here and watching for here is this big, giant head and shoulders pattern in Amazon that's formed over the last several months. So here was an initial little breakdown, immediately recovered from it, and now we've got a sell setup right here in this area of price resistance, and the question is, can it break down through the low of this head and shoulders top and complete the pattern and then project into the downside, which I have over here. This morning it's down, about 3.5 points. Not a big deal within yesterday's range. So I've got an alert set down here, and I've got an alert set up above here. So with this type of pattern, why do I have an alert set at the top? Well, I've seen these patterns set up many times over the years, and I've seen lots of them follow through, and I've seen not too many, but some actually negate the pattern. So Amazon, which has been a giant favorite for investors, institutions, and so on, there's going to be buyers at some point for sure. Right now it's under distribution. But if this negates this pattern, getting back up above this level, so if it triggers and gets back up above this level, historically this pattern is going to have a huge move to the upside. However, if it does follow through as the pattern suggests, this is the textbook analysis of where it should go, measuring the size from the top here to this base and then projecting it down. So that's a little subjective, of course, as to some kind of a measurement. However, what does play out when they do follow through is it comes down to some actual area of price support, which is typically in alignment with the mythology being shown here. So this is what we're going to be looking for if Amazon was to actually break down. So keep an eye on that. Remember, earnings are coming out toward the end of the month, and of course keep an eye on that 200 MA, which is always going to become a factor on a daily chart in indices and widely followed stocks. And institutions are going to be following that, and if it breaks the 200, of course, then you're going to see, the media talking about it, and where's it going to go, so on and so forth. So keep an eye on Amazon in the coming days and weeks. And in the broader markets here, depending on where you looked, let's just go with the ETFs here. The Qs basically had a go nowhere day up at this resistance. That's what was anticipated. And now, the question is, is it going to roll over here, or does it join the rest of the markets and break out to new all-time highs? Well, Amazon could be the answer to which way that this goes. Let's take a look at, the other leader here. Look at Facebook. It got another sell set up here. Didn't go anywhere yesterday, but you've got a break. And, to be totally objective here, when prices can retrace back up to the top of a big, nasty, wide-range bar like that, which implies further downside, it does show strength, but in a sort of head and shoulders, not textbook, but you can see what I'm talking about here, where it is potentially making the right side here, and then we'll see where it goes. But you do have a sell setup, not the greatest. Why? Because of the size of the retracement. Typically, this pattern would retrace to about this area and then roll back over. Or it breaks down what we call a 1, 2, 3 pattern and breaks down. So Amazon, Facebook, keep an eye on the two. And spiders inched up a little bit further, made a new all-time high. The transports, which have been doing just fantastic here, I guess, when transports are doing well and interest rates have been inching up, those are good signs for the economy, so the markets are going up. So things are almost firing on all cylinders, for this market to just continue in its bullish trend. However, this is a little bit extended, and so a normal type of a pullback should be anticipated. The Russell here blasting off, energy stocks have bottomed and pushed up. Biotech stocks have done well. That's fueling this small cap index. And what's going on right now, you got the S&Ps here stalled this morning. We can go to an intraday chart, and you can see that they're just kind of trying to roll over here a little bit. So going back to the daily, just, would be a normal pullback right now, and possibly toward this minor support. Ideally, this type of a strong trend doesn't pull back to minor support. It goes sideways, chops around for a few days, and then continues higher. And if that was to happen, we'd be looking for a possible climactic type of a move to occur. There's the Nasdaq futures stalled here, little red candle. That's the current day. And you got the Dow futures, it's hanging up at the high here. And let's just take a look at oil, pulling back towards some support. Now, a little lesson on retracements. Here's a wide range bar breaking out of this little consolidation into this area of resistance. The bullish scenario is supposed to be to ignore the topping tail, go sideways and higher, not retrace back down to the bottom of the wide range bar. So some weakness there. It's in an area of support. You've got the 200, the 50, and the 20, a cluster of widely followed moving averages. So we want to keep an eye on what's going to happen there. And if you don't have the futures, of course, you could just look at the ETF USO, which is going to be similar, but it doesn't have the overnight trading. And so here's the gap down. So we'll see if it holds there or not. So if this begins to pull back, well, of course, you've got to look at, and I mentioned this in a video earlier in the week, to look for some weakness here in the energy stocks because of the run into the 200 MA. With oil pulling back, it should drag some of them down. And lastly, we're going to take a look at gold, which had a nice move, but now it's under support. So it's kind of like in no man's land here. And, if interest rates, which have stalled for the moment, continue to push up, you're going to see more downward pressure on gold. That's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to the channel and for further updates. And any comments or questions, put them down below. Happy to answer and help you guys out learning. All right. Have a great trading day.